I have been seeing a lot about Kristin Hannah lately on all of my social medias, so I thought, why not run to Goodreads and see all of the books that she has written, read some, and see if she is an author for me. So that's exactly what I did. I ran to Goodreads and I typed in her name to look up the books that she has written, and I selected 3 books to read in today's video to see if Kristin Hannah is going to be an author that I like or don't like. So this is an author taste test for Kristin Hannah. But I feel like whenever there is just a little hint of romance, like, I eat it up. Rye can kick rocks. I like being down here in the lower 48. I like having running water, a bathroom that I can walk to indoors. I like having electricity. I like having heat. I like having air conditioning. So Alaska, during this time that it's going on in these situations that our characters are in, not for me. Okay, so I wanted to come in and give my first update on The Women by Kristin Hannah. So I started this earlier today. I am currently on page 152, which is the start of chapter 13, and already I am absolutely loving this book. I have said previously, I'm not the biggest fan of historical fiction, and I feel like that is very true, but I feel like there's just something about the way that Kristin Hannah has started this story, the way that she has written this book, that is so intriguing. It's so interesting and it's keeping me hooked, like, from the beginning. Like, I am enjoying this book so much. Like, as of right now, this feels like it's more than likely going to be a 5-star read. Like, I feel like the hype behind Kristin Hannah is so real because I'm just like, how have I never read a book from her before? Like, this is so good so far, and I'm only 150 pages in. Like, I am absolutely loving this. Like, it's giving 5-star vibes. Like, I feel like this book is just gonna hit so hard. Like, already, like, I know that this isn't a romance, but I feel like there is some underlying potential for a romance to happen in this book, and I am literally so here for it. Like, I know that not every book needs to have romance in it, but I feel like whenever there is just a little hint of romance, like, I eat it up. So I feel like that there's a potential for a romance to happen in this book, and I'm so excited, and I'm hoping that it works out and that it's not going to absolutely destroy me at the end. I have seen people reading this book and they have been sobbing at the end, so I am a little nervous about that. But like I said, I'm absolutely loving this book, and I think I'm probably about to go to bed here soon because it is just after 10 o'clock. So I'm thinking that I want to go to bed, but I do see myself probably finishing this book tomorrow. I do have about 300 pages, about 310 or so pages left in this, so I definitely do see myself more than likely finishing this tomorrow. But I know that this is the first Kristin Hannah book that I've ever read, but if you have not read from Kristin Hannah, please do yourself a favor and pick up a book from her, because literally they are so good, so amazing, and I am starting to understand the hype and why everyone says to read her books. And I definitely feel like once I'm done with this video, I will do an even more extensive dive into her backlist and reading more books that she has published, because this was her most recent release, so I definitely see myself reading from her from here on out. But yeah, that is my update so far on The Women, and I will keep you guys updated as I continue reading this book and this story. So with that being said, I will update you guys again a little bit later. I've been sitting here and I've been reading The Women by Kristin Hannah, and I am on page 368, which is like right at the beginning of chapter 29. Like, I am just so, like, I don't know. Like, I'm actually so, like, shook and taken aback by the fact that this was just revealed. Like, I'm so surprised. Like, I thought, I thought that what might happen would have actually like happened, but to see it actually play out, oh my god, like I'm heartbroken for Frankie, like, oh my god. And so I'm just like, I don't even know how the rest of this is gonna play out. Like, I hope everything works out for Frankie, and yeah, I don't know, Rye can kick rocks actually. So that's where I'm at right now. I know Navy's been barking this whole clip, so I'm gonna stop recording, but Rye can kick rocks. Hello. Okay, so I wanted to report that I've officially finished The Women by Kristin Hannah, and I am giving this book 5 stars. Like, are we honestly surprised though? Because I feel like anytime you hear anyone talking about a Kristin Hannah book, they're giving it 5 stars, and I feel like it is a well-earned 5 stars. This book was amazing. Like, so essentially we're following Frankie, and her brother has just left to go to the Vietnam War, and she is like, you know what, I think I want to sign up to go to war and be a nurse over there, and then that way I can be with my brother and I can help people and, you know, get more out of my life than what I feel like I'm getting currently right now. And so not too long after she enlists, her brother is actually killed in action, and so Frankie decides that she still wants to go over there to see what she can do to help, even though her brother has passed. And so essentially we are following Frankie while she goes to war to be a nurse, and we follow her during her 2 tours in Vietnam for 2 years, and then we follow her once she returns home. And honestly, this book was just so good. Like, I just cannot even put into words how I feel about this book. Like, I was expecting to cry while reading this. I did not. There were a couple times that I felt like I was going to kind of tear up a little bit, but for the most part, like, I did find myself not really super sad. There were some, like, obviously heartbreaking moments, but nothing that I felt moved to tears over. But that is not saying that this was not a sad story, that there were not sad elements, and that I couldn't see why people were crying while reading this book. But I just have to say that this was absolutely amazing, and I'm so happy to have read and finished this book. So now that I have officially finished The Women, that means that I will be moving on to the next book for this video. I feel like this is starting this video out so strong, so I feel like I'm having such high hopes for the other 2 books by Kristin Hannah that I will be reading in this author taste test video. So the next book that I'm going to be picking up is The Great Alone. I've heard kind of more mixed things about this one. I've heard people still really liking this, but I haven't heard as many fantastic things about this book as I have The Nightingale or The Women, so I'm definitely interested to see if I'm going to like this book or not. I know that it takes place in Alaska, so I'm not too sure about that setting, but I am willing to give it a chance, and hopefully I'm going to love it. So far, she is a winner for me, so let's see how this book goes, and I will update you guys again once I start The Great Alone. Okay, so I wanted to give my first update on The Great Alone by Kristin Hannah. So I'm currently on chapter 4, so I'm 44 pages into this, and so far, I'm not really sure how I'm feeling about the story. I don't know if this is going to be a book for me, but obviously I still have pretty much the whole book to go. But essentially, we're following Lenny and her family, and they have just moved to Alaska after her father has come home from Vietnam, which I feel like is very fitting that I read The Women first, because that one was all about the Vietnam War, and now we're following a Vietnam vet and his family and them moving into Alaska after he has been mistreated after serving in the war, as well as him suffering from PTSD. And so where I'm at in the story is basically Lenny and her family have just gotten to Alaska, and they've just come to the house that they have inherited from one of her father's like war buddies. And so yeah, now we're just going to, I guess, follow them through the next little bit of them hopefully fixing up this house that seems like it's absolutely disgusting and you would never catch me living in, and I guess just living in Alaska, and maybe Cora will leave with Lenny. I hope so. That's my hope, because I just feel like, I don't know, the relationship between the parents is a little iffy to me, so we'll see how that continues to go. But I don't know if this will be my favorite, so I'm gonna continue reading and I'll update you guys again later when I have more of an update. But yeah, I'm gonna try and read a pretty hefty chunk of this evening. So that's my update, and I will talk to you guys again a little bit later. Hello. Okay, so I know this isn't like a super great angle, so like ignore that, but I wanted to give an update on The Great Alone. So I just made it to the second part, which is called 1978, and Lenny is now 17 from what I can tell based on the first sentence of chapter 12. And okay, so far this is getting better. I'm getting a little bit more interested. I just feel like this still just isn't like the type of story that I thought it was gonna be. Definitely check the trigger warnings for this book, because the first part is pretty heavy with on-page domestic violence. So definitely, if you're triggered by that, maybe go into this one with a little bit of caution. But I, like I mentioned, have made it to part 2, and it looks like there are 3 parts in this book. So second part being the longest and the third part being the shortest. And so I don't know if I'm going to be putting this down tonight or if I'm going to keep going. It is currently 9:33 and I am starting to get a little bit sleepy. I know it is like a Friday night or whatever, but I am starting to get a little bit sleepy, so I think I might actually be getting ready to go to bed. I've already like showered and I'm in my pajamas and everything, and I've just been sitting here for like the last like hour and a half reading. And yeah, like I said, I'm a little bit more interested in it now than I was previously during my first update at like the 50-page mark, but now I'm 200 pages in and I'm feeling a lot more confident about my like for this story. I'm definitely interested to see where things are gonna go, especially after the development at the very end of part 1. So I'm just definitely interested to see how that decision is going to impact Lenny and Cora throughout the rest of the story. But yeah, so far I do not think that I could survive in Alaska. I like being down here in the lower 48. I like having running water, a bathroom that I can walk to indoors. I like having electricity. I like having heat. I like having air conditioning. So Alaska, during this time that it's going on in these situations that our characters are in, not for me. Not for me. So obviously I'm sure Alaska is beautiful. I'm sure obviously in 2024 they have figured it out on how to survive these long winters with air conditioning, running water, and like non-use of outhouses. But I just know, for me personally, I could not live the way that they are living in this book. I mean, obviously if I had to, I'm sure I could make do, but Ernst is a little intense and I really just don't like him. So yeah, that's my update on The Great Alone for now. Like I mentioned, I think I might actually go to bed here soon and see if I can try and pick this up tomorrow some, maybe see if I can finish it tomorrow. I do have plans to go to a literary festival that is being hosted here in my town tomorrow, so we'll see how much time I actually get to read. But yeah, so that's my update for now, and I will talk to you guys again later once I have another update on The Great Alone. Okay, I'm turning the camera on because I have less than 30 pages left in The Great Alone, and Winnie is about to see Matthew for the first time in a while, so I'm gonna film my reaction and see if I'm gonna cry. I thought I was gonna cry at an earlier scene that happened, but I feel like if anything, this reunion is what's gonna do me in. So let's read the next 30 pages. So I just finished The Great Alone by Kristin Hannah, of course, and so I think I'm gonna give this 4 stars. So I feel like I didn't like this as much as I liked The Women. I thought it was still good. I just felt like it just wasn't as good, and I don't know if it's because I just wasn't like necessarily as invested in the story as I was in The Women. Plus, like, going into this, I went into this book completely blind. Like, I had no idea what this was about. Like, I literally only knew that this was about a girl and her family moving to Alaska. Like, I didn't know any of the details about the reasons why or anything that happened after the fact of them moving to Alaska, and I feel like that really helped the reading experience. But I did feel like this was a little bit out of my comfort zone, not something that I would normally gravitate towards or pick up, but I did really enjoy the romance aspect of this book, even though it was mostly like childhood, sort of like childhood friends to lovers type situation going on in here. But overall, I really enjoyed this book. 4 stars. I feel like that's not a bad rating at all. I was hoping for another 5-star out of this, but I feel like just honestly, I didn't love the story itself. Like, it was still really good. It just wasn't my favorite, and it wasn't something that I feel like I would normally gravitate towards. But that's not to say that this was a bad book or anything like that. But that does mean that I'm officially finished with the 2nd book for this author taste test video for Miss Kristin Hannah, which means that I'll be moving on to the 3rd book that I'm going to be reading in this video, which is going to be The Nightingale. So this is the one that I have heard probably the most about. This is a World War II historical fiction following, I believe, 2 sisters or something. I'm not 100% sure. I just know that everyone says that this one is absolutely heart-wrenching and will make you cry. I have yet to cry, so there's still time. Maybe this will be the one that makes me cry, but I am super excited to be picking this one up next. So this will be the next book that I read in this video. I am not sure if I'm going to go ahead and start it just yet, but once I do start this book, I will update you guys on my progress and my thoughts. Hello. Okay, so I am reading The Nightingale. I am on chapter 6, which is page 53, and so far I'm unsure about this. I've heard from a lot of people that this is like their favorite Kristin Hannah book, and that this one is like 5 stars, like super amazing. And so far I am a bit unsure. I don't know. I feel like the start isn't really captivating me. It's not really grabbing my attention like in The Women. I feel like The Women really captivated me from the beginning. And I don't know if that's just because this book is older than what The Women is, because obviously she wrote this in like 2015 and The Women came out this year. So maybe it's just like the writing style. I don't know. But right now I'm having a hard time. But I'm going to keep going and see if it gets any better. But right now I'm really struggling. So we'll see, and I will continue to keep you guys updated as I continue reading. Okay, so I have made it to chapter 12, which is page 152, and I feel like it's starting to pick up now. I feel like the last couple of books from Kristin Hannah that I've read in this video have started out kind of slow and have started to pick up around like the 100 to 150 page mark, and I just ended chapter 11 on like something so like heartbreaking and sad, because like obviously knowing history and what happens in World War II, you kind of know how awful the thing that Vienna just did is and how sad and detrimental it is about to be. So I am definitely interested to see how that is going to play out, which I already know that it's probably going to be like so heartbreaking and sad. But yeah, I don't know. That is my update. I think I'm about to go to bed. It is like Tuesday night, so I do have to get up and go to work in the morning. So I think I'm about to go to bed, but I just wanted to give that update really quickly. And I definitely do see myself reading some more of this probably tomorrow. But yeah, so that's my update for now. And I will update you guys again later once I pick up The Nightingale again. Okay, so I wanted to give an update on The Nightingale by Kristin Hannah because I feel like I haven't given one in a while. So I am honestly almost done with this book. I'm on chapter 33, which is page 462. So like I am a majority of the way done with it, and so far like I'm enjoying it. I know that the beginning started off a little rough for me. I wasn't really loving the story at the beginning, but I feel like it has since really picked up. I will say that my favorite character is Isabel out of the 2 sisters, but I feel like she's so reckless. And then we have Vianne, and she I feel like is just so complacent that it's hard to kind of root for her. So that has been kind of difficult to read about, but I feel like the ending is going to be really tough. I'm definitely interested to see how it's going to end. I did just end on a really big cliffhanger, so I'm definitely interested to see how things are going to play out from there. I will say that this is interesting to me because in school, like I always enjoyed learning about World War II. Like it was one of my favorite subjects to study in history just because I thought that it was so interesting. Like obviously it was an absolutely horrible situation and was honestly so sad and terrible. but it was just so interesting to me. And so since this is literally taking place during World War II, I feel like it is giving me like another perspective on what happened during that time, and especially like since this is written in the perspective of two sisters who were living in France during that time. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. I feel like this is such a like hard-hitting book. I feel like this book isn't for everyone, but I feel like everyone could benefit from reading it. So yeah, I don't know. Like I mentioned, I'm almost done, so I'm gonna finish this book more than likely tomorrow. So I will probably update you guys once I finish this. Once I pick it up tomorrow, I might try and film some of my reactions towards the end. We'll see if I cry. I've yet to cry during this video, so we'll see about that. But yeah, that is my update for now. I'm going to bed, and I will talk to you guys again probably once I'm finished with The Nightingale. Hello. So I wanted to come on here and update that I finished The Nightingale by Kristin Hannah, and I think I want to give this book a 4.5 star. I feel like this book was really good. I feel like it was emotional, it was hard-hitting. I feel like there were some definitely rough topics discussed in this book, and the things that these characters went through were so heartbreaking and devastating, and I am very happy that I read this book. I will say that the reason that I'm not giving it a 5-star is because I felt like the beginning was very hard for me to get into. I found myself not really wanting to pick it up, and I felt like during the middle of the book there were some parts that just kind of dragged, and I was more invested in one character's point of view than the other, and I just didn't really connect with the two main characters the way that I would have wanted to. But I still feel like I could appreciate this book for everything that it is and everything that it discusses and talks about, because I still think that this is an absolute beautiful novel, even if I wasn't the biggest fan of like the characters. But I will say that I feel like if you have any interest in World War II at all, I feel like this would be a good pickup if you like fiction around that time period. I feel like this would be good to pick up. I feel like out of the 3 books of Kristin Hannah's that I read in this video, The Women was probably my favorite, and I don't know if it was just because I loved Frankie so much or what, or if it was just because Kristin Hannah's writing has like matured since she has written The Nightingale and The Great Alone, just because these two did come out like way before The Women. But I will say I really enjoyed every book that I've read from Kristin Hannah. I definitely feel like she will be an author that I continue to read from, and I definitely will be looking out for future books from her, and I might even do a little bit of a deep dive into some more of her backlist titles, because I really enjoyed the 3 that I have read from her. And I feel like this author taste test has been such a big success because I did not have any misses. Like all 3 books were hits, even if I did struggle a little bit in the beginning of a couple. But I feel like that happens sometimes with books. Like it might be a little bit hard to get into at first, but then once you continue reading, you really start to get into the story and love what you're reading. And I found that was the case with a couple of the books that I read in this video. But now that I'm officially finished with The Nightingale, that means that I've read the 3 books that I wanted to read for this video, and I came away with nothing less than a 4-star, which I think is absolutely amazing. I read The Women, which I ended up giving 5 stars. I read The Great Alone, which I ended up giving 4 stars. And then, of course, The Nightingale, which I ended up giving 4.5 stars. I just feel like this was such a good video. I feel like this was so fun and I had such a good time reading these books, and I'm happy that I was able to love the books that I did read. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. That is going to be all for today. If you liked it, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content from me. I will have all of my social media linked in the description. And if you've made it to this point in the video, leave this emoji in the comments. And with that being said, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.